happening, everybody, and welcome back to the True Gamer Podcast, the podcast hosted by two gamers for you, the true gamers. I'm one of your hosts, Eddie, along with my bro, the inverted gamer himself, Sheps. Bro, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing especially good because I remember the clap sync.
Oh, you remembered that for sure. Yeah.
Also, like the video. We did it before like an hour in.
Oh, shit!
We'd appreciate a like.
We're professional YouTubers right now. We're better than that. Have you heard the controversy with the iShow Speed guy?
No.
Speed. Do you know that? I don't know how his name goes. It's Speed, they call him. He's like he's a younger kid, very infatuated with Cristiano Ronaldo. He's huge. In fact, if you type in iShow Speed into Google, you know his face. He accidentally waved his schlong around on stream on YouTube.
I wouldn't consider that a controversy. Oh, is this the guy?
Yeah. He's quite hilarious, I will say. He's a bit annoying sometimes, but he's quite hilarious. But anyway, he swung his thing by accident on YouTube. It genuinely wasn't
accidentally.
Yeah, I know it sounds weird, but it genuinely was an accident. If you imagine, like you wear boxers and you've got those like buttons at the front, right?
Yeah.
Imagine I've got one pair of boxers that the button at the front keeps on coming apart.
I have the exact same pair.
Exactly, right?
In fact, they're your pair.
Yes, exactly. We share them when it comes out.
In this economy, you got.
It's my turn to wear them. That's what we switch around.
Yeah, you do the inside. I flip them around.
Exactly.
Take them off in the morning. The boxer's forgotten everything. Yeah, just like your towel. Yeah.
Exactly. You get it. Everyone gets it. Everyone gets it.
Yeah.
It was one of those ones clearly, and he got up with excitement. It was like yeah, sort of like shaking his hips, and then all you see is just. Oh no! And he gets down and he's like genuine shock, the worst thing in the world. Like, that was a proper accident. I feel so sorry for this guy. But the hypocrisy and the controversy that's coming out of this is that YouTube's like, we're not going to ban him. And I'm like, whoa, no. I mean, I guess it was an accident. I get it. But it's straight nudity on a live stream. Okay, and the reason why is because they don't want to lose another streamer to kick. With all these streamers signing kick contracts, they're like, no, we don't want to lose another one.
That's interesting. That explains why my brother randomly this morning was like, have you seen these videos that people are sharing? There's like this one dude who's showing, I think it's, I had very little context, but he said it was a gay guy showing like it's 4 young gay couples how to use that hair removal cream. My chick uses hair removal cream.
I have seen this.
Yeah. So I haven't seen it, but he told me about it, and I was like, okay, that's weird, but YouTube's a dumb place. And it was completely out of the blue, and I was like, why are you even telling me about this? By the way, I was at work, because I'm working from home this week. So I was just like, I went round to his to work, because it was, change of scenery. And I'm like, that's cool, typing away, trying to message somebody. Like, why are you telling me about this dude hair removal creaming his booty crease? Like, I don't get it. But I was missing this context.
It's a trend going around now about... There's people, by the way, this is a gaming podcast, just so you guys know.
Sorry about that.
There is this trend going around where people show this video to people and they catch their reaction.
Before you show me, because I haven't seen it,
yes.
We used to do, one of my favourite videos of ours was we had a 50-50 video. Yes. Do you remember that? We could do a reaction video to this thing.
We could? Do you want to do something like that afterwards?
Yeah, we could do.
All right, then let's not show it then. Let's get back to talking about gaming, shall we?
Yeah, why don't we even start? Not even get back to. Let's just start.
Let's just start talking about gaming. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much.
This gaming podcast is a gaming podcast. Let's just remember that.
Thank you so much for supporting the channel and everything you guys do. Let's take this time to give a special shout out to some amazing people who support us over at patreon.com. Do
you know what? I think we've moved sides, and that's the / now.
No, I think it's that way. I'm trying to think of the URL now. I never really type it, but / Conbrosations. Support us over there at Patreon. It's really fantastic. Thank you so much for all your support, guys, over there. And those amazing people who support us at the Super Bro tier. Isak the Ultimate Cumsock, my juicy left nut, Sabine from Smallville, and Gamsmaster, the leader of the Empire, the fearless one, the great Lord Vader himself's step cousin, who isn't really that important, but you know he likes to be there. Sometimes he bakes bread. He bakes brioche bread. It's the not the good kind though. It's not like the brioche bun. It's that sweet shit that's awful. It's like milk bread. It doesn't taste any good, and no one likes it. But we're like, great, good work, Gamsmaster.
It's too soft. And it's like halfway between bread and cake.
Oh, yeah.
But then, like, some of it, like, the outside's too dry, but the inside's too soft.
It's actually sickening. It's actually sickening. And,
and so are you.
Sorry you had to find out this way. But thank you guys so much for your support over there. And if you want to support us, you can click the links in the description. You can go check that out and see what you guys get. Bro.
Yes.
I want to start off today's episode by talking about Starfield.
Okay.
Because it is coming out in T-minus...
It's 20 days or something, right?
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 14 days until the early access release, which is like 5 days earlier. And then 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 days until it comes out.
Why you got to show me up? I say 20 and you're like, oh, no. It's...
And you just needed to point out the fact that you are indeed wrong.
Can't even count.
Incorrect.
Yeah. Sick. I mean, look, let's be honest. I stretched well outside. I left my lane out of like single digit numbers, like my IQ, and straight into double digits. Like I was, it was doomed to failure.
But Starfield is coming out very soon. The hype is beginning. They have confirmed that they have gone gold, which is cool, which is awesome. Reviews are set to go live on the first day of the early release of the game. That doesn't instill confidence in me per se. However,
I know what you're saying.
It doesn't exactly take it completely away from me. I'm not ready to say this is a failure. I'm just saying that is sometimes what developers do, what publishers do, to try and mask any sort of shortcomings because they simply don't have enough. Exactly. So they simply don't have enough time to point it out for people so they can get as many sales as possible.
And that still was 4 days. No,
it's the day of the early release, which is the premium edition if you want to get that one, and then it's 5 days after that, which is when the normal game comes out.
I'd say that's plenty of time for, if the game is terrible, for even print media to get a copy of something out there and websites updated. So at least it's that. It's not like day of release, you know, day of public release. So, so that's okay.
Yeah.
I will say, and I know you want to mention something about Baldur's Gate coming up, but given that it's releasing off the back of Baldur's Gate, and Baldur's Gate has sort of set another bar. You know how The Witcher set the bar for like game length, open world, etc. Baldur's Gate has done. I haven't played it. My brother's played it. Says it's fantastic. Rob, friend of the show, he's played it. Says it's really good. Has come out and it's massive in a good way, and just works. Doesn't need an internet connection. No planned, DLC, no paywalls, no microtransactions. It's just complete. Seems to work. I mean, I'm sure there are some bugs. What game isn't going to have some bugs, but seems to just work.
Especially in modern games with how complex they are.
Right, exactly. It just seems to work. It's good. It's true to its stuff. So the reason I mentioned Baldur's Gate is not to like big that up, but to say Starfield is, in all fairness, coming out against tough competition because this game, everybody's talking about it. Even if you don't like D&D, if you don't like PC games, saying that this is the standard. Games should just come out this way. And while I agree, every other game has not been held to that same standard. And that isn't fair for Starfield. And I want to be as fair as possible. When I shred Starfield for it sucking, I want it to be completely fair.
You wanted to have given it every prop that you possibly could before taking it down.
Exactly. And I'm going to sweep the leg.
Exactly. That's actually very, very good of you. I appreciate you doing that, actually, because some people will just want to shit on it. There are fanboys out there who just want to relentlessly and completely ignore anything good or whatever. And that's just not fair. That's not what we do here. And I don't like doing that myself.
And I also, unironically, do want it to be good. I love me some sci-fi.
Mate, I made that hype video, and that was off of the back of that Starfield Direct. I was like, I was fully bought into it.
Yeah.
Now, they haven't spoken much about it since then, and it looks like we're not going to get any more information about it really until the game releases. Yeah. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, who knows? We'll have to see once it's all come out and stuff like that. But I was super hyped, and I hope it's still the same thing. I think I'm going to get it on Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna pay for the additional premium so I can get it early, so I can play it a couple of days early.
Yeah.
Actually, what reason why I'm doing that is because I need as much time as possible to play this game before
Generally, so you can make some content. Yeah.
all the other games come out as well. Like, because we're gonna have like Spider-Man in October.
Yeah,
we're gonna have Alan Wake coming out. Alpha's gonna get very excited about that.
Yes, he will.
So there's a lot coming out. So I want to get as much time, but I want to get you. Also, I want to mention about the, like you said, the comparison between Baldur's Gate in terms of bugginess as well. That's another thing that's probably going to stand against them. I mean, as much as people would hope that Bethesda has changed, the likelihood of them releasing a game that isn't buggy is probably not going to happen.
Hold on to the old standard, right? The old standard prior to Baldur's Gate was minimum couple of days. Right, if it's online, a few days for servers to settle down. We always said that. Even Call of Duty, they have that recipe down. If we got, let's say they pretend the battle royales don't exist, the new COD was coming out, that's all there was. We would always say you gotta give it 2 days for the servers to like figure out what the actual load is because they have an idea, but
they always lowball it to save money, and then they find out they actually need 40% more, and then they go in there and it's
and also it's weird because there's a massive influx like over the weekend, and the people are back to work. So it's really difficult to judge those numbers. So in that same standard, give it a few days for servers to settle down for anything online. There'll probably be a day one patch. There'll probably be some hot fixes. You know, there is like that is normal and to be expected, and it's actually not to the detriment of Starfield. It's to the hype of Baldur's Gate that it came out so flawlessly. That's incredible. I don't actually begrudge a game coming out and needing a relatively large fix straight off the bat, because that means that they were working to fix bugs. And I'm pro that. If it sucks that I want to play and have to sit and download something for an hour, but I'd rather play a working game than play a crappy game an hour faster. Like, so none of that's gonna. I'm not gonna hold any of that against it. My problem's gonna be: is it any good?
Yes.
How accessible is the story? How good is the story? I'm heavily opposed to the voiceless main character idea, which is a style of doing it. And I know, like guys like Isak, Morrowind fans, and OG like Fallout and Skyrim fans say that it's a thing that they like. I don't agree. Like I prefer the Mass Effect way of doing things. Give me a voiced character. You know,
I think it's very much rose tinted glasses. Now I'm not saying you can't enjoy that stuff. That's totally fine. But
I just think it's better to have.
We have progressed a lot since then, and in terms of like motion capture, performance capture, voice acting, the level of stars that we have in games now, and that has big value in games. Yeah, and it puts across a really good story with emotion, with gravitas. And that's what I prefer now, and that's what I like.
And also, I'm not saying this has that same thing as well, where just like Starfield, it's effectively Baldur's Gate is just the fantasy version of Starfield, roughly speaking. Has a voiced protagonist. You can pick some of the standard characters that come there, or you can make your own guy, and that person comes with a few voices, high quality voice actors. Like, I that is the better way to do it. The other thing that we desperately need to know: is there a schlong customization feature in Starfield?
We need to know. And is it going to be on display constantly, or is it going to be like in Cyberpunk, where it's like, pick big schlong, you never see it ever again?
Yeah, you know.
I want to see my thing. I want to see my schlong.
There's got to be multiple sizes. I want to be able to customize veininess, cut, uncut.
Exactly.
You know.
And also, maybe I do want to see what it's like. What would it be like if I was to have big beef curtain flaps?
Jesus Christ.
By the way, do you know what the female version of teabagging is?
Clam slam.
A flappuccino.
Oh, no.
I told my girlfriend today, I was like, babe, can you give me a flappuccino? She's like, what's that? It's the female version of teabagging. She's like,
whoa. Hey.
Anyway. So what's your gut check at the moment for Starfield? What situation are you in? How do you feel about this? The only thing we have to go on is that, like I said, it's gone gold.
Yep.
Soon.
Yeah.
So, I mean, kind of instill some confidence in me that. Then there's a review thing that kind of takes it back, where it's like, okay, I personally feel like leaving it that late is a bit much.
I'm with you.
Like if there wasn't an early access period,
Baldur's Gate had an early access that was the whole first act for a year and a half.
I was gonna say that's a long time. If there wasn't this this premium early access area where it's like 5 days earlier, would the release date for the reviews have moved 5 days as well to the actual day of release?
Who knows?
Who knows? In it, we're in we have to go back into a different time to figure that out. They've spoken so well of it. So far, though, I just have this itching feeling behind me, behind the back of my head, just going like, listen to me, Ed, listen. Everything Xbox touches seems to turn to crap.
Yeah. And
It's
Bethesda
happened.
recently, like, I know Deathloop was well received, but that was one managed by Sony, and we have this, if you're new here, we have this opinion that their Xbox isn't lacking for talent, it's lacking for good decision making.
Yeah, management.
And in my opinion, Bethesda, all I can remember is Fallout 76. You know that thing, you can build 1,000 bridges, but you screw one goat and you're not known as Ed the bridge builder anymore. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Fallout 76 was they screwed the pooch. So in my heart of hearts, I really want it to be good. I freaking love sci-fi. Some of my all-time favorites. How long have I always talk about Halo, Mass Effect, Dead Space? Like those are my top pick titles often. But realistically, I expect it to flop, and I really I'm working so hard to not just be fair, but to give it a. I'm not talking about lowering the bar. I'm talking about giving it an appropriately placed bar when you take into account that Bethesda haven't made anything good in like 7 years, anything great in 7 years, that Xbox haven't delivered anything genuinely good in like 15 years, that we just need something good and not great. I'm not asking for it to be God of War 2018 or Last of Us Part 2. I'm asking for it to be just a good game, just a good game.
Yeah.
There's plenty of it was a good game, and I want in the discussion to be what were some of the good games in 2023. Oh yeah, well you had Spider-Man, you had X, Y, Z, Baldur's Gate, Starfield, that was pretty good. That's all I need it to be for me to go, yep, cool, banger. You know what I mean? Finally. Realistically, though, I think it's going to be and when I say I feel like I just set the bar at 5 to 6 out of 10, like a true 5 to 6, 5 being
not Metacritic 5 to 6
no.
out of 10.
A real average
A human.
5. I do think it's going to come in more like a 4, and I would put, just to be clear, Redfall at like a 1 or a 2 out of 10. That Redfall's that's not okay. That's not okay. I think it's going to be a 4, where it's just, and I don't think it's going to be broken particularly. I think it will work as a game. I just don't think it's going to be good. And that's my big problem is I think they'll actually bring out an okay game. It's just going to be Fallout in space, which will be disappointing, but hopefully it'll be visually nice to look at.
Hopefully.
I think it's going to be clunky, way too clunky for current gen. I think the story I just don't think it's going to be good. I hope I'm wrong. I love sci-fi. I think it's just going to suck.
Do you know what? That's the thing that I'm most confident about in everything.
Okay.
Not that I think it's going to be bang 10 out of 10, but I think the story can be quite intriguing.
Yeah.
And the way that they've been looking at like sci-fi and the space travel part of it gives me hints that they have this creative sort of story. They've really thought about like a cool creative narrative to go with this.
Yeah.
Now, that's backed up by nothing. There's no way. I've seen a little bit of the stuff they've said where they're like, there is like an alien artifact that you're trying to go for, and it seems kind of interesting, but we've got so little information to go off of.
Yeah.
So this is just my hunch. This is just my gut feeling. But everything else does seem like it's going to. The actual gameplay of it, I think, is going to be the hindrance, because that's the part that you're interacting with the most. And I think it's going to unfortunately have not so good performance from what we've seen from what they've said so far, and that's going to take its toll eventually. It's going to be like, I can't play hundreds of hours of this and it looks like this all the time, and it's always dropping frames, it's always doing this. Hopefully my PC's strong enough that I can maybe like...
If it doesn't run good on that, it doesn't run good. And I will say, I don't think that will be able to run the thing on mega, ultra, super epic settings.
Yeah.
And I still think you'll think it's clunky. I just think it's going to feel
Maybe.
clunky. But, I mean, I felt that way about Killzone. It's just that style and that feel of game.
Yeah.
Which, if it is just like, for example, I did not like Elden Ring. It's a really good game.
Yeah.
I don't like it. Same with Sifu. I just didn't like it, but it was good. And I had that same feel about Elden Ring. It was just felt like an old style of game, even though it looked good and all that stuff. But it's still a good game. I would tell someone Elden Ring is a good game. If you can get into those type of games or you like those, you should play Elden Ring, right? And I want to be saying stuff like that about Starfield. And I don't think I will be. I just looked up on Metacritic, but in my head I thought if it gets like a 65 Metacritic from users, I'd say that's a win for Xbox.
Right.
And I was just looking at what are people setting.
That's far too.
Yeah, I was just looking at what people were setting. So I thought, okay, maybe like 70, 75. And that is probably, well, you know, like here's 69. Nice. You got like Darksiders, some WWE games in here, Wolfenstein.
On Metacritic, you need to go by the color of the little number that goes there. So is it? I think it's is it up to 75? 75 up to 75 is orange. Is that yellow? I should say over there. And that's a. That's what people, and that's ridiculous.
I do not like this system because it's really a base 3 system. If it's not a 7 or above, it's bad.
Yeah.
What's the point of this system?
I only get it from one point of view, and this isn't the point of view, fortunately, I should say, that we're in, because we get to, because of like the guys that support us on Patreon and stuff like that, we get to buy whatever game catches our fancy. Yeah. And we get to play it, we get to game share it, and we get to mitigate the cost and whatnot. For some people, it's like, I'm not going to spend my time on anything lower than an 8 because I don't think it deserves my $70, especially with how expensive games have gotten and stuff like that, even though they're appropriately priced. But like the world is expensive now, so I understand it from that perspective. However, it's not fair on the game. Yeah. Because again, some games are 7s just because someone's had a fucking off day, and most journalists don't ever finish a game before they give a review for it. Yeah. And it's just not accurate, and you could be having so much fun with a 7 and have such little fun with an 8 or a 9, and it just doesn't work. It's shit. It is shit. Yeah. And it's worse. It's made worse by this color as well. This like traffic light system where it's like, okay, if it's yellow, I don't even want to look at it. If it's green and above, cool, I got it.
Yeah, it's silly, right? 5 is supposed to be average.
It's supposed to.
5 is supposed to be sort of like, you know, don't go out of your way. You know, if it's not in your town, don't bother picking it up. Yeah. But it's not, you know, not a waste of your time.
5's supposed to be where Game Pass lives.
Yeah.
Like, that's where all the Game Pass games are. 5, maybe 6. Occasionally you get a 6 in there. Cool. You're paying a lower cost, so you're getting a lower quality of game. And then it's supposed to be like from 7 and above. It's like, cool, these are great games. You should really consider checking them out. Make some time for them. Not everything has to be a 10 out of 10.
Anyway, I don't. It doesn't need to, like you said, it doesn't need to be a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
If it's good, if it isn't broken and the story's okay, and I don't mean that people tell me they enjoy it, right? If a few Xbots tell me they love it and a few fanboys of Bethesda tell me they love it, that doesn't make it good, right? If I'm not setting Elden Ring as a bar, but universally people are like, Elden Ring is a lot of fun, Elden Ring's really good story, etc., etc.
Yeah, but only from losers.
Yeah, absolute losers. If that's what happens, if a bunch of people go, I wasn't too convinced about Starfield, but I picked it up, it's actually pretty good, the story's really engaging, and those are just not fanboys of certain things, cool. And it only needs to be, it was alright, I'll probably finish it. If the majority of people go, I think I'm going to finish it, it's pretty good, cool, perfect. Finally, some signs of life, and hopefully the start of a trend. That's as far as I'm setting the bar for it. I'm going to be honest though, I expect that it will suck. Realistic in my mind, logically, I just think it's going to suck, and I think it will not be well put together for more than that week of grace period. So I'm not buying it.
Do you know what will suck? It will suck.
Me on a Friday night.
You on a Friday night for sure. That's like
margaritas or like.
If you went down to the bookies, they wouldn't give you good odds.
Are you had me at went down?
Exactly. What will suck is that if there's a lot of really good things in there, like like we've seen for the traits and the abilities and whatnot,
Yeah.
they do look genuinely good. If the story is good, if there are those cool moments that you hope for, where like you go to a planet, you see a character, and they hand you a side quest, and they're really engaging and whatnot. But it just turns out that actually the universe they built is really empty. Actually, the performance is just really bad, and etc. Stuff like that. That's like really core. Like the gunplay isn't actually very good. And then it's like, fudge. There's some good stuff here, but it's just layered underneath all of this terrible stuff. That's the shit. That's what I would really hate for to happen.
That's sort of how I feel about Elden Ring.
And it's unfortunately kind of possible.
Yeah. That's how I personally feel about Elden Ring. I feel like there's an incredible story under there that's just not accessible to me because I hate the gameplay. And so much that story is found in like 5 pages of some prisoner's diary somewhere that you have to, like, of course I'll find because I'll search every brick to see if they move.
But to get there.
And by the way, just on a Metacritic thing, which I don't usually look at it, I know it's sort of the bottom, we will sometimes talk about stuff, but Call of Duty Ghosts is a 78. So, on Xbox, that's Metacritic out the window there.
I think that if you were blind and you threw a dart at Metacritic, you would hit 10 examples of stupid things. Like for example, The Last of Us Part 1. When The Last of Us Part 1 came out again, you was like, okay, theoretically this should have the exact same score as the previous Last of Us, the remastered or something like that. Came out lower. And I was like, hold on a second, it's just gotten better in visuals. How is it lower? They didn't change the story. They didn't do the redo the voice acting, so it's exactly the same delivery.
Yeah.
If anything, they made it look nicer.
It looks
somehow
nicer. The gameplay's better.
It's just like
it looks nicer. The gameplay's better. That's it.
That was one of those moments where it's like, I'm out. I'm out, guys.
Yeah, I knew I wasn't looking at Metacritic for a reason, and it's because every time over the last few years, because usually I let you just go, oh yeah, the Metacritic score is this, and I just judge it off what I'd hardly look at it, and now I know why. Stupid.
Well, the only thing that I like about Metacritic doing is when we're online on Twitter or something like that, and I make a poll like, let's guess what the Metacritic score is going to be, and it's a real crapshoot because it could be amazing or there could be all kind of external biases. Like for example, like PlayStation, they're given a bit more of a harder time now because they've made so many good games that they're judged a little bit more harshly. They're like, you've set this off a new bar. You need to go higher. With Xbox, it's possible that you could say that they've set themselves such a low bar that if Starfield comes out and it's competent, then it's like, 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
We got it, guys.
Xbox done it again.
They did it, guys. They've done it there. This is Xbox's road to redemption.
Yeah.
And then the next 10 games are shit. And it's like
I do genuinely, though, unironically, I want it to be really good, and I do want it to be the first step in the journey to like actually being competitive with PlayStation again.
But how is that possible? Because
I mean, you're right. There's no world in which Xbox makes banger games and people sell their PS5s to buy an Xbox. Yeah.
I want that to be Phil's legacy. It's like, why would we make good games when it makes no difference? I want that to be on his tombstone. If, let's say, for example, Starfield is a solid 10 out of 10. A game that's remembered for years. The Skyrim of the Xbox Series X generation.
Yeah. People talk about it like The Witcher.
Right.
Yeah.
Does that mean they ever make another good game again? Maybe Bethesda does, but that's going to take another, 10 years before they make another game? That doesn't mean that just because Bethesda make a good game, it doesn't mean that fucking a 343 suddenly go, we now have all this power to make great games.
Don't get me started.
Fucking Obsidian, yes, it is Obsidian. Obsidian turn around and go, we can make great games now.
Rare suddenly like, do you know what would be great? Banjo-Kazooie, let's redo that.
You know, it doesn't mean all these other studios that have been pooing the bed all this time suddenly become amazing. So when they say, this is the step to... I'm like, what makes you think that? They've made a good game. If it turns out to be great.
Let's say it is.
That doesn't mean that the next game is going to be good. And that just means that they've highlighted even more how bad they are.
I was gonna say, like, for a little bit, my naivety got the best of me. I was like, well, they can say, well, what decisions have we made? and what was the process that we used, and we produced this incredible game. Let's just adopt that as a way of doing things. Except that they've had the recipe from Sony. We've seen the reports from, when did that come out? 2017?
Time ago, yeah.
Years ago. We've seen the reports. No, it was after God of War. We've seen the reports, I think it was 2019, where they have broken down what made The Last of Us, Last of Us Part 2, and God of War 2018, Horizon Forbidden Dawn. What made these games so good? That's Sony's homework, and they haven't copied it. So, fair enough. You're not wrong.
That was the report that spurred on that comment from Phil Spencer that good games, we can't make good games, so what's the point in trying? Because he was like, the report said that this is better than anything we've ever made, and I guess we could never make the quality of that, so let's just give up now. Let's just make a service and hope we can fool enough people to buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I do hope it is amazing.
I want it to be good. Like, more good games is more good for more gamers. You know, like there's no world in which Starfield coming out being like a 10 out of 10 banger of the generation is bad for anybody.
Exactly.
That's not bad.
So I'm looking forward to hopefully it being good. I'll give it its fair shake. I'll be in the trenches with you guys, exploring the galaxy that Bethesda have created. It's actually in the hands of reviewers now, so that's pretty cool. Pretty cool right there. 2 weeks to give it a shot. So let's see how that goes. Speaking of Baldur's Gate and Starfield, Baldur's Gate came out on PC, and it's got fantastic reviews. If we want to use Metacritic, it's at 96 out of 100 at the moment, which is bloody fantastic, getting universal acclaim from critics, from players. It's seeming like it's absolutely fantastic.
The only people that are upset about it are other game developers.
Yes. So...
which is funny.
Do you want to talk about that? Do you want to...
We can do, yeah.
You let everyone know what's been going on, because I have seen some other game developers be upset.
Essentially, Baldur's Gate comes out. It's complete. No microtransactions, no predatory...
Specifically, none of that stuff.
Yeah, no microtransactions, no extras that you have to buy from DLC or early edition stuff. You get extras for early edition stuff, but not like extra, particularly massive extra content or anything like that. No paywalls to unlock stuff. Just works, doesn't require an online connection to play through the story. Relatively speaking, and especially for this day and age, bug-free. Nothing. Apparently no day one patch or anything. You just loaded it up and it was working. Yeah. And it's massive.
Yes.
And in a good way. Not like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, like The Witcher meets all the best bits about Cyberpunk meets, Skyrim and stuff, right? Yeah. Like, it's just massive with tons of different ways to replay the game, tons of different options. The world's immersive. Like, there's this one bit that's been going around of a guy. There's a kid that tries to con you doing a coin toss. Right. And if you just autistically tell him to keep tossing the coin, he gets like progressively more angry. And after about 10, he's like, "Mister, what is wrong with you?" Right? Like, they had to spend the time to go like, what happens if someone just keeps flipping this coin? Right? Like, and that sort of
reminds me of the Ratatoska thing in God of War. Right. If you keep smacking the gong thing, he just starts. He goes from the polite gentleman he is to like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah.
Stop it.
Exactly. And it's that sort of thing, but it is present everywhere. Obviously, the schlong customization. This is massive.
Important.
One of the pivotal keystones of modern day gaming. And like you said, universally, players, critics have nothing but good things to say about this. The only people that have a problem is other game developers and dev houses who are basically coming out saying, "This isn't fair. This shouldn't be the new standard. What do you expect us to do? Make a good game and have it playable when it releases, and not try and rinse you for everything you're worth?"
I feel a little bit for them.
I actually don't.
You don't?
No, I don't.
Go on, you lay it out.
Because two reasons. One, this is the Sony model in practice, which is just give good people good stuff and they will happily give you their money. And you'll make more money making a good product than trying to like rinse people for their money. Similarly, Fortnite, horseshoe opposite. You can play our game completely for free. If you want some other cool stuff, like we have it here, but you have to buy it.
Yeah.
But there's no barrier to it.
Yeah.
Horseshoe opposite, just deliver, you know. And we had, I think this is the best case study of all time, mainly because I loved the game and really did enjoy it. Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
DICE made it, baked in microtransactions from the beginning. The game tanked despite being amazing because it was baked into it to extort people. And by the end of it, after they had to gut the entire system, what they had was an incredible game that, had it released that way, would have printed money. But because they tried to be predatory and force your hand to have to buy this stuff, no one did. Everyone revolted, and they made nothing, and the game was killed because of it ultimately. And it went down to like a skeleton crew after about 7 or 8 months of being live. And look, by the end it was a good game, and I would have happily bought skins in it.
Yeah.
And so with all of that out there, and you've seen like it's not unknown that people don't like microtransactions. Like look, no, this is the way to do it. Just make a good game, have it ready. Ideally as ready as possible. Like if you have to do a big day one patch, that's what you have to do. I understand that like there are logistics. A game may have to go gold by a certain point, and the devs have to keep working and solve those problems.
Yeah.
Fine, I'm not fussed by big day one patches. It's cool if they don't have one. I'd prefer that, but I'm not against it. Like I want my games to work. And these devs came out effectively saying like, whoa, you can't set a standard of just making an incredible game. And by the way, as far as I'm aware, they didn't delay it. They just said, look, it's not ready. I could be wrong. Baldur's Gate, I don't think got delayed.
I have to say, this has sort of jumped onto my radar fairly soon. I've had to catch up on the history of it.
I don't remember. I didn't keep up with it while it was in development too much. But my brother he's big into Baldur's Gate 3. He got the early access as soon as it came out, and he's replayed the early access like 4 or 5 times. He's really into it. And he hasn't mentioned that it got delayed. I would have thought if it had been delayed at some point, I would have heard about it.
Right.
So I'm going to say that, but I expect a Runic Firebird correcting Conbrosations.
That fucking guy.
But I'm pretty sure they were just like, it will release when it's ready. And then when it was ready, they were like, hey, we're ready. We're going to release it. I think that's how they did it. So just doing everything right. There you go.
The only part that I wanted to push back on is, I feel sounds like too strong, but the only bit I want to take the side of those developers who are complaining about is that it is this is a light one. The complexity of video games is big, so like but it should still be working on day one, or at least after the day one patch and stuff like that. So that I'm not going to excuse.
It's not like, is it Larian Studios, the guys that make it?
I
think it's Larian. It's not like they're CD Projekt Red.
Yeah,
they're not some massive powerhouse.
They're quite small in comparison.
And the game is gorgeous.
Yeah,
like it's stunningly good looking. The quality of the acting's fantastic. The quality of the mocap overall is fantastic. The quality of the story is fantastic. It's not perfectly D&D.
Yeah,
because there are some things that are slightly different. But like it's very true to the game. It's got most of the fun stuff in there, and not a lot of the like what, you know, when people think of D&D, like the nerds with the thick books and all those paper things. It's got none of that in it.
It's got the checks and stuff like that they do, right?
Yeah. If you're haggling with someone, you have to make a charisma check.
That's it. Yeah.
And then you roll, and the dice just simulates like how good it's that bit in the universe.
The number.
You know, if somebody rolls out of bed on the wrong side of the bed, and they come out and they're just not feeling it that day, and you say something really persuasive, but they're just grumpy. That's what the dice simulates. Like it's that element of chaos that you have no control over.
Yeah.
And then like if you have like, for example, the dice goes up to 20, but if you're a really charismatic person, you might have a +10 to the things. You might roll average, but still hit a 20. Roll 10 plus 10. Because you're a very persuasive guy, but you didn't do too good that day, or he was feeling really grumpy, but you're still very persuasive, so you got it across the line.
Yeah.
Whereas me, who maybe would be like a nerdy wizard, who isn't very persuasive, I have a +3, and I roll a 10, 13, and that's not enough. right?
Yeah.
That's how the game works. And they simulate it and you get the dice rolling thing.
I've seen some gameplay of it.
Yeah.
It seems pretty cool. And it seems, especially for a guy who's liked the look of D&D, just doesn't have the time to invest in it. And also,
ironically, the game's not short. You'll be putting a lot of time into it.
Yeah. See, that's another thing. When it came out, I was like, fuck, I play games that aren't 10 out of 10s.
Yeah.
And when a 10 out of 10 comes, I feel the obligation as a gamer to be like, fuck, I need to at least put some time into it, right? I need to try out. You can't just pass on a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
You feel like you're missing out on life. And I'm like, I don't need another game like this in my life, though. And this is a big game.
Yeah.
All right, so the thing that I wanted to say about why I was on their side was that when it comes to microtransactions and stuff like that, it's not really on the dev side.
Sure.
It's the fucking publishers that are getting too greedy and they want to try and rinse whatever investment they've made at to get as much out of it. When in actual fact, because they're just suits, they just don't get it. If they just played it the other way, they'd probably get a lot more money out of it.
This is the thing.
It's just so dumb.
Most gamers have no problem with you releasing an incredible game and then saying like, we're gonna keep doing stuff. We have these artists and devs making some of the coolest skins, and like you're gonna love them, but we have to pay their wages.
Yeah.
So if you want this awesome like epic armor set of awesomeness, $2.99.
Yeah.
Relatively cheap. You get to enjoy it. Doesn't affect your game. Not going to affect it in any way. It would just be really cool. And do you know what? If I love the game and I've played it for like my 5th time, like, do you think I wouldn't buy like some awesome like Crusader armor for Geralt of Rivia?
Yeah.
Like, of course I'd pay $2.99 for that. Or Eredin's armor, on the mountain. He's got.
Yeah.
I'd buy that for $2.99 just to play through the game like that. Or let's say you could do like something stupid like what Fortnite does, get a Mandalorian armor in there, or Kratos's black fur.
Oh yeah.
I would. That's like probably the best part of £20 worth of microtransactions that I've just said right now that I would buy and play the Witcher Remastered with, because the Witcher is an incredible game, and I'll pay to have some continued updates and stuff. Yeah, why not? And if I don't want to pay, guess what happens? Nothing.
Exactly. Here we go.
I'm fully with you. So also, here's where I would counter your like defense of those devs, is that a little bit of me thinks the publishers and the big bosses went to their devs and went, you better make us think about that, because otherwise you're not getting your bonus. And
possibility.
Ironically, the Snow White girl who everybody seems to hate at the minute.
Rachel Zelga or something like that.
Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Not a defense of her, because I do think she's said some really silly things or hasn't didn't preface them properly. But I'm not of the opinion that Disney didn't prep her on the things to mention that were important about the movie. I don't think they were just like, oh, how old is she? I'm assuming like 20.
Something like that.
20-year-old. Yeah, just go and do all these interviews. We're not going to prep you at all about the talking points of this movie. Like, Disney's made some terrible decisions. They prep their actors. The actors go out there, say some ridiculous stuff. Right?
Do you know what? Someone else said this as well, as a defense to be like, why are so many people hating on her? Yeah. And I was like, I'm in the middle, because
she's also said some stupid stuff. Like, she said something about if she's in a dress for 18 hours, she should be paid forever.
Yeah.
And it's like, hold on a minute. You understand that residuals are a bonus. No one else gets paid for work they already did. In every other industry, you do what let's say you're a developer, you make some app for your boss. Like, you don't get paid after the fact.
I need someone in that industry to explain to me what it is exactly they're angry about, because I haven't gone to research fairly.
Me neither.
I've always been like, so
never let facts get in the way of a strong health.
Because if I install a boiler at a restaurant, do I get cut of everything that they make at that restaurant? I don't really get it personally, but one thing I will say is that obviously, like, you make a product, it goes and sells, it goes in the box theaters, makes the box office money, and then they try to get further money by putting it somewhere else. Maybe I should get a little bit of a cut of that. If that's their argument, okay, we can work out some sort of fair deal.
Okay,
but I feel like some people are being a little bit ridiculous, and they're like, we deserve half of it because it was. Let's not go into that because this is a gaming podcast.
Cool.
But I just need someone to explain it to me, because I don't actually know what the deal is.
Anyway, my point was only that I wouldn't be surprised if some of these devs being allowed don't necessarily have a particularly large stake in that company, or they're like a founding person or something like that, trying to say like, hey, this isn't okay.
What it is, unfortunately, look, this is the basic thing of it. This is the internet for you.
Yeah.
Like this Rachel's things like that. the argument isn't, oh my god, every other developer is a lazy fucker.
Yeah.
They can't make video games. And look, Baldur's Gate came out and made a video game. Everyone else is inferior. You guys suck because you didn't make a 1,000-hour RPG with all of these systems, with no microtransactions like that. The argument is, man, look, these guys didn't have
Baldur's
to put
Gate's
microtransactions.
incredible,
This is an incredible game. Look at how much effort they put in, and look, we're rewarding it for them. I wish more games were like that. But some developers are taking the extreme people who are being like, every other developer in the world sucks. Look, Baldur's Gate is doing it, and they're arguing with them. Like with this, which was they're not trying to say, oh, women are ridiculous, like these feminist people are just crazy, so like they're trying to go, look, she made some stupid comments. That's what we're trying to say here. It's like that. People are hyper focusing on a really ridiculous part of people and saying that this is what everyone is saying, when really not everyone is saying that. Two people are saying that.
Yeah.
And that's what's going on.
Pretty much exactly that, yeah.
Which is the thing all the time, by the way. When the Reva thing happened, it was like, oh, people hate Reva because she's a woman and because she's black. No. People have been saying that the writing is terrible.
Yeah.
And you focused on the two people that decided to be these assholes.
I mean, there are always weirdos, like in The Last of Us 2 when freaking what's her chops got death threats. The girl that voiced
Laura Bailey.
Laura Bailey.
Yeah.
Got death threats.
Yeah.
Because of what Abby, the fictional character, does in a video game.
Yeah.
Directed by Neil Druckmann, written by what? Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
That is insanity. That, I mean, and I don't mean like, oh, that's crazy. I mean, like, those people should be institutionalized. They shouldn't be on the streets.
Yeah.
That's not an okay thing to be doing. But then saying, oh, people that didn't like The Last of Us are all insane.
Yep,
No, then none of them have a good point. You know, like,
that's insane in itself.
Exactly. So, to your point, people focus on those extreme ends who happen to be a small, very, very loud group of people.
It's the easiest fight to take because they're the most absurd people. It's easy to point at them and be like, fuck, you're an idiot. Because it's true.
Very easy to defeat.
But it's hard to be like, okay, this person who came up with a fairly reasonable argument. It disproves what I feel about it. It's hard to go against. That's what it is. Okay, so like Baldur's Gate anyway, as I said, it looks fantastic. It's got me interested, even though I don't have the time for it. I'm going on holiday to Sweden, by the way.
Why are you going to Sweden?
My girlfriend's got some family out there, and she said they're offering their home to us. So while they go away somewhere else, so we're gonna see them for a couple of days, and we're gonna go.
Just
on
Tuesday.
Tuesday,
I have family in Norway, so to your Swedish.
Listen, Sweden for life. Although I think they're Polish, but just living in Sweden, so whatever.
Sweden for life.
Adam's from Sweden, so I guess that's a ding against them. Yeah, shit. Anyway, I'm going there. I don't have the time for it. Literally leaving Tuesday, coming back like the 30th of September. Yeah. So a day later, Starfield's going to come out. There's a very real possibility that I buy this tonight, so I can play it for 2 days.
Yeah.
And that's going to be an incredible waste of money because I'm not even going to be able to finish it.
On the other hand, to waste even more of your time...
I'm listening.
I'm trying to put together a local D&D game right near me.
I would love to. I just have no time, and I'm going to be the most inconsistent guy. And you can't start a fucking campaign and then I don't show up next week. That's the worst part. That's the reason why. That's the reason why only you've stuck by me all these years.
It is true. It's true.
I have other friends, but those friends are the ones that are like, literally, I can live without you, Ed. No problem.
Yeah.
And it's good because that works out for me. Because I'm just so fucking busy. Anyway, I'll read the description for you guys if you guys want to check it out. Baldur's Gate is a role-playing video game developed by Larian Studios.
Oh, it was Larian, yeah. Cool.
Yeah. It's a third main game. It's the third main game in the Baldur's Gate series, which is based on the Dungeons and Dragons.
Baldur's Gate 3 is the third one? What?
Well, I mean, you can't take anything by the number anymore.
True.
Like the way that...
9/11 was actually the first one.
We just went there. There was no ramp up to that or anything. It was just straight for the tragedy.
No, it's more to 9/11 real quick.
I don't know how we got there. I was gonna say like Kingdom Hearts, where there's so fucking numbers and
Oh,
names.
that's
and
probably
shit.
a better analog.
Yeah, you know, like doesn't make any sense. Anyway, which is based on a Dungeons and Dragons tabletop role playing game. That's why they have like the dice rolls and things like that. A partial game was released in early access, which is a point I wanted to bring up. It was released in early access back October 2020.
Yeah.
So they've had like 3 years of early access to polish and get it fantastic.
Jack's
so
been playing it since it came out.
exactly. So just the first act for 3 years. Fucking hell.
I mean, not like constantly, but yeah, I think he's played through that whole bit like 4 or 5 times. And then recently, this is what's annoying about Baldur's Gate to the point that it's singing their praises. He blasted through the first act. He's like, well, I've played it a bunch of times. It's all different. It's all new content.
Oh shit!
Yeah, that's how above and beyond these guys
great.
have gone. Because he was complaining to me literally before, while I was at work trying to do stuff. He was like, "Yeah, I've got to start a whole new thing," and I'm like, "What do you mean you've got to?" He's like, "Well,
get to.
I've got 2 characters already, and I'm playing them differently. But I just realised that they changed all this content. So all the Easter eggs are different. A bunch of interactions are different." I'm like,
Oh no.
"Yeah, first of all, like, oh no, you missed out on that." But also, like, isn't it kind of incredible that they went back and went, well, people have already played this. It's good that they liked it, but
That
just
is
do some
incredible,
fresher.
and it
Yeah.
shows just how good of devs they are.
and
That
there's
they
no
were like,
spoilers in there.
we're
or-
not just going to re-release this part again. We're going to change it and make it more exciting. Anyway, but that also plays to like how there's barely any bugs because they've had 3 years to like really go
Fair
at
enough.
it and polish it with the a stone and shit. The game remained in early access until its full release the 3rd of August, but it only released on PC.
Yeah.
And it's scheduled to release on PlayStation 5 on the 6th of September.
I thought it was both PlayStation and Xbox.
So this is the interesting part here.
Okay.
So it's releasing on the 6th of September, which is the same day that Starfield has its full day 1 release, right? Yes.
Okay.
And it's only releasing on...
So I felt really bad for Starfield having to be compared to Baldur's Gate. I didn't realise it was actually competing with Baldur's
It's
Gate.
already competing with a 96 out of 100.
That... Devil's Advocate, Horizon gets fucked every time.
True. I mean, we've seen this bloodbath before. Maybe it's Xbox's turn to take a hit.
But that's really unfortunate.
That is unfortunate.
I
right?
will say, in fairness, luckily, Phil Spencer is right. There's no one who's interested in playing on an Xbox if they have a PlayStation. So the only people that would be interested in Starfield realistically have already played Baldur's Gate because they've had it for a few months on their PC. I'm pointing at a PC. You can't see it, but it's there. Sorry.
He's lying to you.
Get fricked,
He's a
audio
fucking
virgins. You don't know which way I was pointing. It could be up. The PC's on the ceiling. You don't know. Or Xbox.
liar. Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to be too bad. It's not quite as bad as like Horizon releasing next to a Zelda game and then Elden Ring, which that's brutal. But that is unfortunate because I was hoping for this to get like completely free reign.
Yeah, so you can accurately judge it, right?
Yeah.
Like the sales data comes out and it's like, oh, you sold 2 million or 5 million, whatever it is, you know exactly
To
why.
be clear, and then we can touch on if this is true and why, it's not coming out on Xbox?
Yes, so this is the interesting turn of events. Technically, this is a timed exclusive for PlayStation on console.
Okay.
Now, only technically, PlayStation has nothing to do with it. No money has exchanged hands.
Okay.
They haven't bought anything and whatnot. The reason why it's not coming to Xbox for the foreseeable future, no release date in sight.
Right.
The reason why it's not coming is because on the Xbox Series S,
Yeah.
they cannot get the split screen feature to work on the console.
Right.
And due to Microsoft's own rules about releasing games on the Xbox Series X and S,
Yeah.
there needs to be complete parity
yeah.
in terms of features on the game for both S and X. You cannot release a game that has different features on each one. You can release different resolutions, that's different, but feature-wise, you can't do that. Larian Studios developers have come out saying simply because of the lower amount of RAM on the Series S, we can't get split screen to work on that console. We will get it there eventually. We'll have to make sacrifices and cut here, cut there, do textures, whatever it might be. We'll get there eventually, but we haven't been able to crack that nut just yet.
Man, who could have ever foreseen these two consoles being
So because of that, they can't release the already working, apparently, version of the Xbox Series X version on their console because Microsoft's own rules dictate that they can't release it. Now, that is just a hilarious turn of events because it's coming out literally on the day of Xbox's biggest release for years.
Yeah.
And now technically the biggest game of I think it is the biggest game of 2023 is releasing exclusively on PlayStation 5 on console. The same day, so it's almost like they have two titans, and one of them already know is already a titan. One of them already know is
Muhammad Ali
an
in
icon
his
of
prime.
fire. Yes,
and some guy,
which we don't know yet, is going to be
and
good.
That gym has never produced a boxing champion ever.
It's a hilarious turn of events, and the only person to blame here really is Microsoft.
Sorry, I just wanted to see what was that iSpeed guy's face. Who could have ever foreseen the Xbox Series S being an issue?
Because it's only Microsoft's fault in this situation. Because I understand why they made the rule. They didn't want people releasing games that didn't and screw over
like an unofficial rule. That didn't have to be like a business practice. You should have said, look, if you're going to make a game for us, it's got to run on both consoles. But you don't bake it in.
What they did was they started their own. They made a bad decision in the first place by making the Series S.
Yeah, you shouldn't
have made two consoles with varying powers. Yeah. I understand you wanted to sell more, but that doesn't mean anything. And
also didn't work.
You just you're hindering yourself.
It's bad business.
And also, majority of your players are Xbox Series S players who cannot play this game. So you're hindering yourself there. But they've screwed themselves backwards now, where they're like, we've made this rule, you have to do this, that will get all the developers. Now they cannot release a game. Now they can't release a game. You've screwed yourself that you can't get this amazing game on your console.
They can't release the games unless it works on both consoles. And what actually happened is they ended up saying, oh, they can't release the games unless it works on both consoles. Yeah, you didn't put the emphasis in the right place, did you?
Yeah.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. Ooh, sorry. You obviously know. For you, new viewer, by the way, hit the like button. Thank you very much. Xbox is plagued by horrendous business decisions. Yeah. Again, I do not doubt for a second the talent in the companies under the Xbox, brand. I do not doubt that they have incredibly talented developers. But I mean, you see it in movies all the time. Incredible actors. They're in terrible movies that give you terrible performances, and it's not because they're bad actors. It's because everything was handled poorly. Bad script, bad editing, bad direction, bad casting, bad lighting, bad everything, right? Yeah. That's what's going on at Xbox. I think they have the talent, right? I genuinely believe it. And they have some incredible IPs, but they are just making terrible decisions. And from the ground up, the Series S and Series X, which we said as soon as it was announced, that's going to be a problem. And people said, no, that can never be an issue. There'll never be a downside. Well, look, it took, 3 years? But here's the problem.
Here we are.
We're here now.
I love it because we started off saying that the Xbox Series S is going to be a hindrance to the entire generation, to gaming.
Yeah.
And we've been proven that's correct. And now more that it's actually a hindrance to Xbox itself. It's a literal moment where they've hurt themselves in confusion. That's what's happened.
The ironic thing is they probably would have made enough off the sale of both Starfield and Baldur's Gate to equal the money they've made on the Series S.
Yeah.
From just these two games. Is it in fact, I presume that they are selling Starfield at full price on the Xbox.
Oh, what do you mean?
It's not going to Game Pass, is it?
It is going to Game Pass. For sure. 100%.
It's so stupid.
Yeah, it's very stupid. This game has probably cost like $500 million to make, whatever it is. It's going to be expensive. $500 million maybe.
We say AAA's cost $100 million.
It's far bigger than that. Far bigger than that. It's a huge game, and it's It's the next RPG from Bethesda, which is
It's been developed for ages.
for 20 years apparently and whatnot.
Xbox things seem to burn through money. Like 343 apparently spent $500 million.
PlayStation
I don't know if
games,
that's true, but they spent a lot of money on it.
PlayStation games we saw in the trial thing was like 250 million for each one of those games, and they're fairly small in comparison to what the Starfield was being touted to be.
Yeah.
This
Something
is
like The Last of
easily
Us
going to
2
be
is a small game in comparison. Yeah,
exactly. This is going to be easily 300 million, maybe more, and they're not going to be selling it at full price. They're hoping they're going to recoup all that cost from Game Pass sales.
huh?
Exactly.
Wait, hold on a minute. They're going to recoup that loss from Game Pass sales, but Game Pass isn't even at break even as a service yet.
Exactly. It doesn't. It doesn't add up.
Did I miss? What? I don't get that.
It doesn't.
Are there
add up.
microtransactions in Starfield?
I don't know.
Okay, yeah, sorry,
I
I just couldn't remember. Are they going to make their money back?
They're not going to make that money back, and especially it's going to get especially worse when they say.
Well, do you know what? I've changed my opinion now. I actually do want Starfield to suck. No joke, I genuinely flipped on this, because if it's good and they say, look, we made a good game and still didn't make any money,
maybe they'll turn off this fucking stupid idea. Maybe.
no, I think they'll turn off making good games at all.
Maybe that. I mean, that would be unfortunate. We want good games, but I mean, they can't make.
I think it did genuinely change my opinion. I want Starfield to be bad. I want it to cost them money. I want them to make a bad game and it costs them money, because that's better than they're making a banger and not making any money. I think they would say, see, it wasn't. We did what you said. We made a great game and we didn't make any money.
They're going to put it on us, aren't they? Because a normal person. This is obviously
a normal person will go, see, look how many we got. We need to change the model away from Game Pass, but we would have made a lot of money.
A normal person would be like, look, we made a great game and it
Gate.
still didn't change the fact that Game Pass didn't make us the money. Maybe we need to change the model. That's the idea here. But they've got the mentality that, like, there's no point in making good games because good games aren't going to sell anything. So what's the point in making them? And that's unfortunately where Xbox is.
Cool. I have genuinely changed my opinion. I now hope it will be. No, I actually hope it will be bad. I want it to be bad. I think we need it to be bad. I think it's worse for it to be good and for them not to make money, because so far they've continued to plow money into stuff even though it's been bad. I'm genuinely concerned that will be enough for Phil Spencer to go, see, look, I told you.
Yeah.
We made this incredible game. Everybody loves it. We still didn't make any money. What's the point of making good games? So I think I flipped on that yet.
Well,
that sucks.
It does suck.
That's so dumb. I genuinely thought it was going to be
at least they'll get
a paid title.
Actually, I was going to say they're going to have PC sales. Most PC gamers do buy their games. Most of them pirate them, to be honest. But the ones
some PC gamers do buy their
games. Some PC gamers do buy it, and they don't prefer subscription models. So, like, they haven't been trained the way that Xbox players have been trained to only go for subscriptions and don't pay for games. So maybe they'll get some money there, but they'll never tell us anyway. So what's the point in even discussing this?
That's really, really annoying,
bro.
Yes,
this is the True Gamer Podcast. Come into your eyes and ears every other Saturday here on Sunday. Sorry, YouTube.com/Conbrosations. If you love what we do here, if you love what we're doing over on YouTube, you can click the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you can get our podcasts as and when they happen. Thank you so much for supporting us over there. And if you listen to us on podcast services, rate us 5 stars, please. Whether you're on Apple or Spotify, it's fantastic. And also, there's also polls that I put down in these Spotify.
Which Mrs. doing there? Eggs Polish. And that's the word for multiple Polish people. Poles.
Why is it spelled like Polish though? I don't know why.
How did I can read and I didn't even notice that. What are these Polish people doing here? They're super shiny.
Babe, can you hand me that polish? I'm right here. What are you talking about? Oh, shit. Confusion again. Damn. You know, happens all the time.
By the way, so you're paying money for us to go on these tangents. I'm so sorry.
If you're headed over there,
we've actually stayed on topic as well. It's been a pretty straight line, apart from 10 minutes at the beginning.
Yeah, well, can you give us
and the Hollywood thing? You
know. If you guys can pause over there by rating us 5 stars, that'd be fantastic. We really appreciate it. Leave a little comment as well, and we can read those and chuckle. If you want to take your support that extra mile, though, if you want to take that extra step, you can head over to patreon.com/Conbrosations, where you can get this podcast the day that it's recorded in front of your eyeballs before all of the casual people over here.
Plebs.
The plebs.
Filthy plebs. plebs.
And you can join the cult over here. We're a cult of gamers. We need to come up with a better name for that. Like you know, say like a gaggle of crows. We need to come up with something like that for gamers. I do like the word gaggle though because it implies that someone's gagging.
Yeah, a gaggle of gamers. That's good. I would a grease of gamers, because they're all greasy, pimply.
A grease. Oh mate, I saw a Reddit post and it said it was like. It's advice, gaming advice, something like that. And it was like, how do you guys deal with the smell of your gaming chair? And he goes, as most of us gamers do, we have this problem of our gaming chair smelling after a while. I've tried everything with like wet wipes and stuff like that, and I really need some help. And I'm just like, what do you mean? What? Is this? He's like, this is a common problem between us gamers. I was like, no.
I sit in my gaming chair 8 hours a day for work, and also game in it. This is not a problem. By the way, we're still doing our True Gamers.
We are, yeah.
So look, you haven't been forgotten.
No.
I just remembered.
Yeah, that's why
finally getting back onto the tangent. So yeah, I think a grease of gamers, maybe.
Yes. The people in the comments, by the way, were like, "No, just personal hygiene will sort that shit out. Like, you need to clean your ass." And then he was like, "Wow, this is a very judgmental community." I'm like, "Bruv, we're giving you straight answers here."
Do you know what? People like that are a problem. Like, if you have something stuck in your teeth, or you smell, or your breath is bad, someone's doing you a favor by pointing it out.
Yeah.
If someone goes, "Hey, bro, you got something on your shirt or something on your face," yes, it's embarrassing right there, but they did you a favor. If you were going into an interview with a piece of lettuce stuck in your teeth, that's incredibly embarrassing. But someone's coming to you, "You got something in your teeth, dude." They're saving you.
Yeah.
So wash your ass.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
I had an embarrassing moment one time when I was going into work really early in the morning, super like tired, not really anything. I brushed my teeth in the morning and I had a whole stain of like white toothpaste coming down my beard and like down the side here. And a woman, when I got on the train, was like, "Excuse me, you got something wet?" And I looked at it, I was like, "Oh my God," it was like huge amount coming down. And I was like, "Thank you so much for saying that." Like, fucking
huge splurt of cum on your face.
It looked like jizz. I mean, jizz isn't that fluorescent, but you know. Anyway,
you paid for that.
If you guys do support us on Patreon at the $5 tier, you guys get the early access to the show, and you also get your name read out as a true gamer right here. Just like these bros: Adam the High Quality Potato, Gams Master, Sheps is Krusty Ratnut, Isak Manny, Sab2557, Gerald Tucker, Mikey T, Fishy, Cobra SS, Dagenham Dan, Adam Sunling, Max H, and Super Whale Ben. Thank you guys so much for keeping the lights and mics on and the gaming going here at the Conbrosations, True Game Podcast.
That's right.
But if you guys don't want to give us any money, no problem. We totally understand. You guys come in here on YouTube, leaving comments, leaving likes, stuff like that. Yeah. All great, and we appreciate it.
We do. What's like a group of virgins called? Like a vinaigrette of virgins. I do like a gaggle of gamers. That's pretty good.
The Lasers community.
Yeah, there's that. What was it? Maybe the Four Pillars Discord. You might call
Four
it
Pillars
that.
Discord. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I can't think of anything else.
I don't want to start calling them incels. That's too far. That's far too far. No. As a joke goes, it's far too far.
Yeah, even we have limits for what we'll call you. If you're new and you somehow made it this far, if you haven't noticed, this is a Findom related channel. So the higher up the tier list you go, the worse we treat you, and you're welcome.
Do you know what? In the YouTube video, in the comment section, leave suggestions for what we should call you guys. And maybe in the next thing as well, in the next podcast, you can leave a comment as well to be like, I think we should be called.
Yeah. I know. I do like a gaggle of gamers. I just think gaggle's a funny word as well. Yeah. Grease is just nasty, but it's kind of funny. Like we toyed with this because we do branding stuff. Like we're actually pretty good at the branding thing. And back in the day when we came up with Conbrosations, we were like, the Conbro Nation.
Yes.
But the problem is every content creator and their dog has like a Gamer Nation, what was that? What did that Philly D guy call him? He just called them Nation, didn't he?
Yeah, I think it was Nation. Yeah.
So like
Nation's been very well used.
And everybody always just jumps into it or gets into it, So like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I feel you.
But also, I'd love to rinse these Brits.
If you can make it something degrading about yourself, that'd be best.
Right? Yeah. Submissive, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
You submissive and breedable gamers.
That's terrible. Oh god. Red Dead Redemption.
Oh god.
Red Dead Redemption is being re-released, guys.
Yes.
For a long time, we heard rumors of a Red Dead Redemption remake coming out. Everyone was very excited to be hearing about it. They were thinking that maybe they were going to do it in the Red Dead Redemption 2 engine and with like some updated visuals. Yeah. Maybe then we'd get a Red Dead Redemption 2 PS5 sort of like remaster, and we can all play these games again on these brand new systems that are immensely powerful compared to what the PS4 was. And what the PS3 was subsequently back in the day.
But in reality, Rockstar was like, we haven't made any more money from this in a while. How can we make as much money as cheap as possible? Has been my understanding.
That's basically what happened. So the Red Dead Redemption game has been announced.
I love that you struggled for the word.
Well, the problem is that it was, I want to say like it's a port of the 360 PS3 game just moved over to PlayStation 4 and Switch.
Yeah.
PC gamers are left out of this. They don't get to play it.
Yeah.
Sucks to be you guys.
Also, it's a generation behind.
Exactly. In 2023.
It's coming to the Switch before the PS5.
Right?
Before PC.
This is the most... Now,
also,
some people correctly pointed out that nowhere did it say there was going to be a remake.
Yeah.
Correctly pointed out. No one said that.
That's true. That was everybody getting their hopes way up.
Exactly. Yeah. But we thought it's the logical step. We're like...
Or a remaster. There's nothing wrong with a remaster.
Exactly. Because people thought to themselves, why would they half-ass it? Why would they half-ass a game that everybody's looking forward to, that is well-loved, everyone wants to play again, would happily hand over some more money for? Yeah. Why would they half-ass it? It's because it's Take-Two and then Rockstar. That's why. That's why they quarter-assed it there. This was such a disappointment because as well as it be only coming out for PlayStation 4, a generation behind.
FPS capped at 30.
Yes. So it's not going to be in 4K. It's going to be 1080p. It's going to be 30 FPS still. They didn't even give it any sort of like performance uncapped frame rate or anything like that. It's going to be $50
for a port.
$50
for a port.
A port that took them a weekend. Probably took them, like, Port Studios, you probably pay them $2 million, they'll do it.
Baldur's Gate is less.
Is it?
I think it's 48.
That. On PC, probably.
Yeah,
PC is usually cheaper. It's probably going to be like $60, $70 for when it comes to PlayStation. But still, the game...
It's 57 for PlayStation.
It must have been that price when it came out originally.
Yeah.
And Strauss Zelnick, the CEO of Take-Two Interactive, was like, "We've appropriately priced it for the current sales demand and stuff like that." No.
On principle, if I didn't have one already, I'd just go and buy a PS3.
Mate, that's what you have to do. Or
go to CEX and buy it for £4.
If you wanted to, you could as well The reason why it's not coming out for Xbox, by the way, because it's coming out for PS4 and Switch. The reason why is because Xbox have a really good backwards compatibility system on their previous gen console. So you can play the 360 version. Check this. You can play it in 4K. You can play it in 4K through backwards compatibility.
Right.
And it's the same game. It's the same game. So that's why it's not coming out for Xbox. This is an utter shambles.
That's going to be an nah from me, dog.
No, you know what? The entire internet literally just turned around and did the Fallout thing. It's like everyone dislikes that.
Mate, I can buy a PS3 on CEX. There's one for 40 gigabytes. So it's not a big one, but like if I'm only playing... Oh, wait, with that...
Tell you what, you don't need to buy anything. You don't need to buy anything.
I still got one. But I was just saying, like, on principle, as a principle...
Fucking hell. I need to do my lateral raises, man.
Yeah. So, like, okay, the 4 gigabyte one, not going to do it. 160 gigabyte one, for 70 quid, and then go and buy. Let me see, what is the price of Red Dead?
It's gotta be cheap.
Redemption. One, like I want the first one. 8 quid. So yeah, 78 quid, and I can play it OG style and call myself a retro gamer, and get some like retro nerd points. It's gonna
So dumb.
fiver even. So 75 quid all in.
So
And
dumb.
CX. Yeah, it's gonna be a no for me, dog. For 25 quid, I can play it as God intended on a PS3. Nah.
It's ridiculous. I don't know how they
Have the balls to. But this is. I genuinely hope all that happens is they lose money on this. That everybody goes, you know what? I'll just get it on Game Pass or whatever.
The problem is, the reason why I think this is happening is because you know the GTA trilogy remaster that they did and how badly that went.
Yeah.
I think they're like using that as evidence not to put so much effort in anything that they're redoing and just focus entirely on like GTA 6 and the future and whatnot.
If that's ever happened, do we think that's happening? I don't think.
Apparently, it's happening. But the problem is that that's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
They half-assed the trilogy remaster, so they can't then go, "Oh, you see, we tried and didn't do it." You didn't try. If you didn't try, it's like the Phil Spencer thing. If you don't try, then you don't get anything back. You can't use that as evidence for then you half-assing it in the future. It's all a risk management thing. It's all just a risk mitigating thing. It's like if we don't put any money into it, then if we lose anything, we don't get anything back. Yeah, but you're not fucking trying in the first place. If you put something into it, and what's really funny is that GTA is still in the top MPD top 10 all the time. Still selling. I don't understand it.
That's got to be fake, surely. At this point,
think so, right?
Do you know
It's
what
like
it is?
Disney
money
filling
laundering. It's got to be. They're like, oh, cartels. You need to launder all that weed money and cocaine money.
Right.
Yeah, just buy this from us.
If they
buy
took
shares and buy GTA 5.
1 year of GTA 5 sales, not the microtransactions that they make from GTA Online, which is buttloads, but if they just took 1 year of sales of those things and put it into a remake, which would be like $100 million easy, something like that, less than that, $50 million is all you need. You can make a decent remake with updated textures. That thing would sell like crazy.
Yeah.
But they've just decided we're going to do whatever changes in our pocket.
Yeah.
And then use it as proof that no, it's not worth going back to older games. Despite PlayStation doing it with The Last of Us and being immensely successful.
Yep.
Despite anyone else that does it being immensely successful. With the Mafia, for example, when they brought those out again. It just stupid. Just ridiculously stupid. Don't get it.
Well, in fairness, it's not like it's one of the most highly acclaimed games of all time. And one of their top performing 4 games.
Not like
ever.
it, right?
It's that's about as much sense as I can make of it. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense. I mean, the other thing, the GTA remakes, remasters, whatever the frick they got called, those were stupid. I was fully willing to buy. I was a couple days late because I just forgot about it.
Yeah.
And I was sitting down to buy it, and then I was like, let me just see some footage. What am I missing out? How good is it? People want those OG games.
Yeah.
People want and those weren't particularly popular. And let's be honest, like GTA 5 is better than Vice City.
There's nostalgia there.
Given how dated the game is, right?
Yeah.
Like GTA 1 is a top-down trash, right? Like no one can say that's got an incredible story. It's worth remaking, right? Yeah. It's just too dated. Red Dead Redemption is like a fully fledged game with a not only like a not cult following because it's like mainstream following, but a dedicated following.
Yeah.
And the second one is one of the best, most highly rated games of all time.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you do that?
They tie into each other.
Yeah.
Like, at least the GTAs are siloed. They're like their own games.
Yeah, exactly.
These ones, they directly connected.
On the plus side, not only Microsoft making insanely stupid decisions. So there you go.
There you go.
Good. There you go, Microsoft.
It's contagious.
It's not just you. Yeah.
They're also remaking. Well, they're redoing something with GTA 4. I am now under no illusions that it's going to be anything but just a port. It's going to be exactly the same as this. It's going to be overpriced as hell. And it's, don't expect anything good. And I'm pissed about that because I actually like GTA 4.
GTA 4 was pretty good.
I'd really like to play that in like modern textures, high frame rate, 4K.
Yeah.
But that's not going to happen. I have no faith in them at all.
No, I think you're right.
So, enjoy some Red Dead Redemption right there. Okay.
Yeah. That's sad gamer noises.
Very sad. I'm going to send you a link right now. I'm going to text it to you.
Okay.
Massage it to you. It's a Twitter link of a video of a leaked PlayStation 5 Slim. So this video has
this
popped up online. It
from
looks
the snitch, right?
No, someone else entirely.
Okay.
Some BW.
Oh, with the supposedly detachable disk drive.
Yes, that's the rumor going around. It's a quite well corroborated rumor, so I assume it's correct. So this is supposed to be the slim model that people are saying is going to release later this year.
The only thing that convinces me this is a slim is this guy's holding it with one hand and just flipping it around.
Exactly, right.
Because mine is too big for that. But he could just be one of those monsters with ham hands. This doesn't look particularly slim. I kind of dig it's got like a new styling, like a slash down it.
Yeah.
That kind of looks pretty cool.
Not
enough for me to buy a different PlayStation over
Yeah,
it.
I don't know about that, right? I don't know. When I saw it, I was like, oh, I don't know about how much the bit that I don't like is, at the top of it, where it's got like the flared sort of things like that. It's now got like a curve that goes on the middle of it. If you have a look when he's like turning it around certain places, I don't particularly like that. The other stuff, not so bad. Now, it does look like, for those of you guys that are audio guys, I'll describe it to you. It looks like a PlayStation 5. It doesn't look.
Good description, bro. Safe.
Looks like a PlayStation 5. See you later. It looks like a PlayStation 5. It doesn't look any different other than down the side, it has horizontal sort of like cuts where they're like black lines in there. I think the reason why they've done that is because on the side where the disk drive is, I guess you can completely detach that and then...
It looks weird to have it on one side.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't understand this though, because why did they invent the detachable disk drive? I thought the idea was going to be that like you only sell the digital version and then here's a disk drive that you can like plug in somewhere.
Do we have the numbers for the sales of diskless versus disc?
I don't think we do.
No.
I don't think we do. But that was the idea that I thought.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to like reduce manufacturing. It was just going to be one SKU and then you can buy this additional thing that goes on, like a controller you can purchase, something like that. I was like, ooh, that's a smart move. I can understand how that works. I mean, I wouldn't like my system to be like that.
Yeah,
but,
me too.
But
me either.
It's an interesting take. But this looks like it's something that's literally like, okay, it's on the side, or you can take it off for some reason.
Yeah, so I'll give you a some reason.
Why would you want to?
No one's going to do this. People might buy it for this reason, but they will never do it. They'll just leave the disk drive in. Maybe they're like, it does look a bit weird with the disk drive bulging out.
Perhaps.
So it comes, it's detachable and it has a faceplate for when it's taken out. So when you buy a disc game, you put the disk drive on, you load it up. Once everything's done, you take that off, put the faceplate back on, the aesthetic plate, and put the disk drive away somewhere. So that while it's sat on your bench, it looks nice. It's clean. It's clean lines and styling. Some suit okayed that idea. And you will never find a speck of dust between the connections of this thing. Once that disk drive goes in for like the third time, it's staying there.
That's another point, right? It's just no one's gonna do it.
Nope.
And all you've done in the process is add another point of failure.
Add another point of failure, another step in manufacturing.
It's just so I don't get it. I don't get it, PlayStation. Why?
Tell me you don't believe some suit was like, this is a complaint, so let's just get rid of it. And we actually do a model where there isn't one. No. But in case someone wants both.
And the worst part is how many of those complaints have you heard? Maybe I've met one person and they were so unserious that I was like, okay, whatever.
I will say,
deal with life.
I've seen many comments about the bulgy.
Really?
From Xbots in 2019.
Okay. Trying to pick something to be like.
Yeah.
And they've based an entire production.
No real person cares. No real person cares. The only sort of person that's dumb enough to buy this is that one guy that was like, my PS5 overheats all the time, and had it stuffed in a cupboard.
Oh, mate.
Barely, with no ventilation and barely enough room for like the cable to go in.
overheating. PlayStation made terrible consoles.
Yeah.
Gasping for air inside the cabinet when he opens it. Oxygen. Oh god.
That guy is going to be like, this is exactly what I need. I'm going to save so much space in that cupboard. I'll be able to put some insulation, my spare insulation, my offcuts of carpet. You know.
Now he puts it in, and it's a little bit lower in the tray, and he's like, but I want it to be higher, so I'll get some insulation, I'll put it underneath it, some foam and whatnot, I'll really pack it in there so it raises it up. There you go, now I can press the button freely.
Only that guy cares.
Fucking hell.
Look, I mean, look, let me know in the comments if you're one of those people that's like, that is my big gripe with my PS5 is how bulky it is. I'd love a detachable thing. I do genuinely think, though, even if you are one of those guys that would actually write that comment, which please write that comment. We need the engagement.
Yes, we do.
I do think what you'll find happens is you maybe do that once or twice, but there comes a point where like you do buy one or two games back to back, or in a short period of time, and you just go, you know what, I can't be asked to take this play off that many more times. I'm just going to leave the disk drive in, and that's what ends up happening. I do think that is where this goes. Maybe someone does it a couple of times, but I don't see that being a big thing. Or they just end up going to digital, which again, at that point, why buy this option? Is there much of a price difference? Is there any price difference at all?
We don't know at all the prices just yet. This is just a leak, similar to the way that Q-Light came out, where someone's just on the fucking bed going...
I'll say this one other thing as well about a Slim, is it needs to be slim. So like the PS3 and the PS3 Slim, cool, upgrade. That was noticeable. Same with the PS... Did the PS2 have a Slim? It did, didn't it?
Yeah.
Those were noticeably different.
The PS2 Slim was the best one.
Yeah, that
was... Because, I mean, you can see how chunky it is here.
Yeah.
It's quite a big, bulky, like, base to it. And then it went down to this razor-thin thing, basically two CDs.
Yeah, it was basically a DVD player at that point. Right? Like, it was incredible.
It's great.
Cool.
Yeah.
That is a Slim. Absolutely. This is apparently, it's like 1/10 of a mil thinner, and we also, it reduced height, like height overall the dimension hasn't changed, but we took some of the height out of the middle, so it looks like it's got a lower height, but actually the height of the wings still the same.
We've taken our inspiration from the plastic surgeons that do Brazilian butt lifts, so we've taken a bit out of the middle and put it on the side, so it's got that hourglass look now.
There you go.
To be fair, it kind of already has an hourglass.
It does kind of have that.
Any poo, that's happening right there. If you're excited, to be fair, the problem is that because it's replacing the model we have, there will be no choice. People will be buying this, and you're gonna have this odd moment where somebody who's not really into gaming is gonna have a PlayStation 5. They're gonna see it, and then they come around to your house, but like, why doesn't yours have a cut out of the middle of it? And they're gonna be like, well, I'm not a loser, so
I'm an OG. I don't think the mic would have picked up that click, but it was a really gross click. I find, do you ever watch like TikTok or Instagram reels of like chiropractors clicking?
Yeah.
I find that really cathartic. That was not one of those clicks.
It wasn't.
That was a...
Do you know what my favorite TikTok trend is right now?
Go on.
It's where someone starts in a Google map sort of zoomed out of the world, and it says like a little place in Devon, for example.
I've seen these. And then Scunthorpe. And it's like...
And it zooms all the way in, but then when it zooms in, it like the music changes into something like, oh my God, this is amazing. And it shows these beautiful autumn leaves with like redwood trees. And then there's like a beach, and then there's like penguins on the beach. And I'm like, yeah, fucking, you go down to Devon, you're going to trip over a fucking penguin.
I saw the best one.
And I'm like, and no one says anything. It's like,
I saw the best one.
I'm going to head down to Birmingham to do...
I saw the best one where
Bristol's where it's at.
It wasn't even a globe shot in.
Yeah.
It was like Swiss rolling hills, gorgeous in the summertime, and then like cut to like blue oceans, like in Bali, that kind of thing, and then like a couple of crisp waterfalls. And it was like Edmonton Green, North London, and I was rolling because that's local. It's pretty local to us. And I was like, and then in the comments, people were like, I'm from here. I'm so glad we're finally getting some attention. And other people were like, I love this place. I visited as a tourist. The people there, so friendly. You can talk to anyone on the street and they'll help you out. And I was like, literally, I was like, boys, you're going to get somebody stabbed. Someone's going to get stabbed.
Don't go to
Imagine there's like some guy from like South Korea who's just got promotion, finally got enough money to like take his family away. He's like, man, Edmonton Green looks like...
He's made a board and he's taken all these pictures from TikTok, just screenshot them, and is like, "Oh, this is all in Edmonton. I need to see all these places."
We're gonna go to Edmonton. We're gonna go to Birmingham. We're gonna go to like
Bristol.
Yeah.
It's just shitholes, and he gets there.
Glasgow. I can't wait.
Mate, that's fucking hilarious.
It's so good.
It's my favourite trend.
It's so good. And the thing that makes me okay with it is it seems like every single comment gets the joke.
Yeah.
And the joke is not to say that it's a joke. Yeah. There's no one there like, oh my God, we really have to go
bullshit.
here.
Yeah, shit, fucking you ruined the party, bro.
Yeah, and there's no one there that has been like fooled.
Yeah.
So it's okay. It's like harmless fun.
At least that we know of.
Yeah, it seems like everybody that comments tips their hat to knowing that it's a thing. So I'm okay with it. But if I ever do see a comment that seems real, I will have to be like, bruv, if you ask for directions from me, like, don't be doing that.
Don't do that at all.
Yeah. So, but I freaking love those.
Yeah.
Freaking love those. I also love, I sent you a tool one. That guy with the angle grinders.
Oh yeah, an angle grinder on an angle grinder.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Brilliant. Yeah. Makita, get on that.
Neil Druckmann directly, but without making a bit of a big deal, confirms the existence of an unannounced game being made over at Naughty Dog.
Ooh.
Of which he is the writer-director.
Okay.
His Instagram bio was updated, and it reads as co-studio head of creative Naughty Dog, executive producer on The Last of Us HBO show, and says writer-director of unannounced game. A lot of people are speculating, saying that this is The Last of Us Part 3.
Yeah.
He did mention in previous interviews that they have an idea for Last of Us Part 3. If it's going to go ahead, is up to Sony and stuff like that. But with the release of the TV show and how they did the re-release for Last of Us Part 1, you think that that's a pretty educated guess to go for that.
Would be strange not to, right?
And especially when he says, I've got the idea. I've got the story. So, you know, that's pretty much what it's going to be. Does that excite you? Does that make you feel happy? Does that make you sad? Does that make you other feelings of emotions that Raymond Holt is totally capable of experiencing?
It makes me feel some type of way.
I'm overjoyed. Can't you tell?
I freaking love that. 9-9.
He's great.
And I was glad to be wrong, but I was not in the camp that thought a Last of Us 2 game would be a good idea. Glad to be wrong. But I think a Last of Us 3 you're really asking for trouble at this point, right? I don't know how you do that well, right? Ultimately, even in the Last of Us 2, Joel was our connection, and it was losing Joel that was the focus for the game.
Alert.
Whoops, sorry. I'm.
Why don't you tell everyone that Darth Vader is Luke's father?
Whoa! I think it's positive news if it's not The Last of Us 3.
Sorry, I just twisted my leg and it fucking hurt. Sorry. Audio versions, I'm sorry.
I think The Last of Us 3 would be a bad idea. So a new, unreleased, brand new IP, good thing. Neil Druckmann overall has been pretty good, so...
Superwell Ben's gonna hate me for this, but I agree with you. I think...
What does he know?
I mean,
Nothing.
Nothing. I mean, fucking loser.
Never played a game.
Just because he's the star of a fan-made...
I'm a big celebrity.
Fallout
My opinions matter.
Movie.
Let me guess. Do you want residuals from that as well?
Oh, fucking idiot.
Freaking peasant. Look, if you're in a dress for 18 hours a day... Well, I don't know what else you said.
I want to be compensated. That's what your salary is for. Anyway, It's not because I don't think that anything good can be made. It's just that, like you said, Joel and Ellie was our hook.
Yeah.
And they did a good job of it in Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah.
In the backwards way that they did it, where like
The memories. And...
yeah, and how impactful that was.
Yeah.
You can't do more impactful memories on the second one, and
It's
he's
done-
not
it's
there
tried.
anymore.
Yeah.
So, and while you probably can tell some amazing stories when it comes to like her trying to reconnect with Dina, and then maybe there's a good story at the end where they get back together.
They're
and
great characters. I just
their-
don't care. I'm not invested in Dina and Ellie. the
not
way
as
I
much.
was.
It's a. I care about them, but not as much as I care about
No,
the
not
Joel
at
and
all.
Ellie
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And I can see a good story of like Ellie becoming the person she was meant to be after all of the hate's gone, after she's found herself. But again, it's not the Last of Us that we want.
Yeah, agreed.
Again, we might be wrong again, like with the way it was with Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah,
I'll be happy for that.
I've been consistently wrong about a lot of these things, and in a good way.
Yeah.
I just don't know how you do the next step in this. I don't see that being a good thing.
I don't get it either.
So if it's a brand new IP, I think that's better. Like, for example, I do think it's better to leave the audience wanting more, right? I think it would be better for us to be like crying out for The Last of Us 3 for 10 years. And in that time, enough fans come up with enough different good ideas, because there are no like brand new ideas. So George R.R. Martin, the guy that made Game of Thrones,
Yeah.
he has come out and said like he's seen all the theories that are out there, and some people have got it. Some people have called the ending, but they, just like everybody else, are taking a punt. This is how they would write it, and it's the same as his, right? You give it 10 years, enough good ideas would come out that Neil Druckmann could go, actually, and I'm assuming he doesn't really have a good idea. But like, you see it, you have a few years to play with it, and you go, actually, I can write that. That would work. This is worth doing. But there's no like investment in it. There's no timeline to it. You just get it done when it's done. That's the best way for a Last of Us 3 to come out, rather than forcing one out. Same with like Uncharted. I think it's a good idea that they stopped, and if they are going to do another one, let enough time pass and do something different. I mean, remakes would be cool, but if you're going to do the Drake's daughter thing, give it enough time to the point where, like, actually, yeah, it has aged. And so if the actors, you can have the same guy doing Drake as himself, being now like 40, 50, closing on 60 probably, with a 20-year-old daughter. That would work. That makes sense. It's sort of, it makes sense, and it weirdly uses real world time to make your escape from reality more believably escapism. Do you know what I mean? Like, it makes sense. So
it's like the unique situation that we got with Brandon Routh as Superman. When he was in Superman Returns, it was like, okay, he's playing like Christopher Reeve, Superman continued on. And then in that Crisis of Infinite Earths crossover, he was a little bit more aged and he played Kingdom Come Superman. It was like, oh, because he's aged a bit, it works.
That was one of my favourite bits of that whole...
was fucking great.
And Brandon Routh is one of those really undersung Supermans. He's an undersung Superman.
It was what internet did, what the internet does, and what critics do all the time. When it's something just a hair different, or something, one minor thing they don't like, or whatever it is, everything's shit. It's the ultra. It's either fantastic or it's not. It's like you didn't even bother to look under the surface.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We both agree.
Yeah.
He was pretty good. And he was probably one of the better points in that.
I loved showing that to my girlfriend for the first time, because we watched obviously all the Superman movies. That's how I had to judge whether or not she was decent or not.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And we got to Superman Returns. I was like, by the way, do you know that everyone hated this when it came out? She's like, what? This is fantastic. And I was like,
so that's why you put a baby in her.
I was like, all right, let's.
James was right.
I couldn't hold it in any longer. Anyway, we're in the unfortunately this might be a bad idea camp. We'll see what happens. We have no control over it. We'll see. I'm still cautious on the multiplayer game. What's going on there?
You think that's actually coming? Because I don't. And again, I hate being that guy, because I do think the best way to do that is to do like a Division-esque, the way they did their multiplayer live service, multiplayer like that, that's probably the way to do it. And again, I wouldn't do it if it wasn't that, and the microtransaction side of things has to be handled properly. And I don't think they should do it because nobody fricking played it, and the Division, which was the most popular version of that way of doing things, wasn't highly. It was it did okay in terms of its scores and stuff. People said it was okay, but it dropped off immediately.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Although, again, I think we have this idea that Sony probably is going to spend the next 10 years trying to find something to get people to play as well as or instead of COD, because it looks like the Microsoft deal is going to go through. So maybe they do it just for data.
They kind of have to. They kind of have to explore this. And it might be wasted money. And that's another downside to this whole Activision deal, that instead of just making good games, it's now we have to throw money at things that probably aren't going to work. Maybe will never work.
Counterpoint.
Just to see what happens.
If excuse me, boys, if they do it the way they do it with everything else, I would argue that them making something that isn't profitable or sucks isn't a waste of money. As an example, the 6-axis sucked, but now we have the DualSense, right? They got data from it. They found some way to get some useful stuff.
I guess so. It's always valuable, right?
Right, and if you take that approach of actually what works, let's dissect what makes Fortnite good, what makes Apex Legends good, what makes Call of Duty good, and what do people prefer over those to Killzone, and really look at some harsh truths, and then go, well, maybe it was just the time. Let's do another Killzone-esque thing. Okay, that sucked. Cool, that idea was correct. And even if it's uncomfortable to look at, take really useful data. Is it possible that they come up with something? Yeah, actually, probably, because it's not impossible to do. It's difficult, and where it's difficult is knowing what to implement and where. And for example, they didn't nail RPGs off the bat, right? Like Sony has been doing RPGs for a long time, and for the most part they started out doing RPG type stuff with Final Fantasy, and they tried some different things. Like, they get better over time as long as you iterate and learn. When something sucks, you go, the fans don't know what they're talking about. You go, this is useful data. Everybody turned off at this one point. Okay, what was there? Right?
Well, I hope that's what they're like now, because yeah, I mean, especially with the era of Jim Ryan, like, he has. If you look at it from a top-down perspective, he's made some decent business decisions.
Yeah.
I don't like the way he does things strictly business. I prefer a little bit of heart in PlayStation.
I agree with you.
Like the heart that used to be with the Sean Laydens, the Shuhei Yoshidas, the Andrew Houses.
I agree with you.
But he has made decent business decisions, at least. I mean, PlayStation's moving up and up and up, and it's just not showing any signs of stopping.
The thing is, what they do is they find what works and just make and optimize it. And if you take that approach into shooters, because now there's an incentive. Now they're looking at saying not only the money that you could make, but the money that they are going to lose they have a known time period, right? Yeah. Let's just assume that the deal goes through. They know that in 10 years' time, COD's going.
Yeah, they have to operate into that assumption, right?
So, well, okay, Xbox knows the recipe to their stories. They're just not doing anything with it. It isn't, quote-unquote, hard to dissect the recipe of what makes these shooters good. Then all you have to do is implement and iterate. Like, Fortnite wasn't Fortnite for a long time, right? Yeah. It started out as that Save the World thing. Yeah, they made a few changes. PUBG and H1Z1, I think it was, got really popular. Well, we can do that with our engine. Why don't, let's see if that works, and then we'll put in this building feature. And, oh, that was cool. Like, and now they took the building feature out. Or they gave you an option to play without it, and it's more as popular as ever. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's there you go. Like, that's the model. It is possible to dissect what makes these things work, what makes some popular and some less popular, and then you're gonna have to make a couple that suck.
Yeah.
And find out why they suck and where you can improve, and also some of that stuff's gonna be your marketing. Which, if you don't market even on your own freaking platform, how are you going to push this goddamn thing? Anyway, besides the point, I think it can be done. I will say, though, I'm in the camp. I don't think it will happen. I don't think they will get not COD competitor, but like let's say a replacement. You know, this will be an episode of like, you know, when you on Neighbours, when the actor was sick and they were like, this week the part of Jenny will be played by Janine Johnson, and then Jenny comes in and they go, oh hi Jenny, because it's a totally different actress for that 1 week. Like, it'll be that.
Yeah.
But can it be done? Yeah, maybe. If anyone can do it, it probably is our current iteration of Sony who optimize what works. I'm not putting any money on it, though.
Yeah, I would. That's a bad bet.
No,
bad
it's not a good bet.
Let's kick it over to our comments, bro.
Yeah,
I just want to say, first of all, thank you as well to Wasim Khan, who took the time to come all the way over from Spotify to come over to the YouTube comments to tell us that I uploaded the wrong, the old episode
Thank you, bro.
with the new title for last week's episode. I noticed it quite quickly. Chris as well came up to me like 2 days afterwards.
I sent you a text. I was like, oh, I just saw this comment, bruv. Have you done this?
Yeah,
it's changed now.
Thank you very much for saying that. Please continue to do that stuff if we make anything wrong. But that has been fixed. Thank you very much for coming over and doing that, bro. And let's kick it over to Patreon, where Alpha Aquelele has written in. I don't know if you've noticed. Well, you haven't noticed because I just don't read his comments. I've left his comments out for such a long time that it's become like a joke between me and him. I was like, yeah, I'll get to your
Next
comments
time,
this time. Swear. Just ignore it. But I feel bad now because it's happened like 4 times in a row now.
I will say, in our defense, Alpha writes big long lists, which we do read, but don't necessarily always get read out because your dissertation on why Alan Wake should be played by Sheps every week.
It's sometimes just a declaration of information.
Yeah.
It's just like, so Alan Wake is a video game, and it started around in original 1984.
It is his dissertation, and I love it. And to be fair, I do read it. I read all your comments, but you don't. Not everyone. This isn't just your Alpha. Not everybody gets all of their comments.
But sometimes it doesn't deserve a platform.
Doesn't deserve platform. That's maybe not the way I would have said
anything, okay? All right, so he writes in, he says, Alan Wake 2. There we go. Alan Wake 2 has been delayed by 10 days to Halloween weekend. This should hopefully help it get seen more, but now it's after Spider-Man 2, so it could be much worse. 10 days. Shit. That's not good. It was coming out 3 days before Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And now it's 7 days after Spider-Man. It's not good.
If I was them, I'd delay it a week.
Yeah.
Give it 2 weeks for everything to. Is there anything? What's 2 weeks after Spider-Man?
I don't
Nothing,
think there's
right?
much afterwards.
I reckon most people will have rinsed Spider-Man for 2 weeks. That's my guess. After 2 weeks, you're sort of safe to release. Yeah, that's a tough one.
That's a bad one.
That's a tough one.
That's
tough.
So it could be worse with people having access to that now. It wouldn't be Alan Wake 2 though without a delay. Patreon doesn't like paragraphs on mobile, so thank God, Patreon, you saved us. So I'll just tell you this is a new paragraph. I have a question. Do you ever see an achievement/trophy for a game that seems tough or annoying and it puts you off getting the rest of the achievements and trophies? Or do you get as many as you can, or just get the ones that you want to? Do you have anything like that?
I am the worst guy to be asking, mainly because I am a paradox when it comes to this. I've never once gone seeking information about trophies and stuff. However, and my throwback is always what's the thing where the game came out in 2017, group shooter, there's the monkey with the electric gun and Tracer. Overwatch. How do I not remember that?
I was
monkey
going to say.
with the gun?
Monkey with the gun. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Tracer. Okay. Winston. You talk about Winston, bro.
Yeah. I lost the entire game out of my head. So, Overwatch, I'm talking Overwatch 1 because they changed some stuff. I found out because I mained Lucio. I found out there was this achievement called The Floor is Lava, which I apparently misread, by the way, because it didn't have to be all 3 at once. But it was the thing that attracted it to me was, 1, I was a Lucio main, and 2, it was one of the rarest things. It was 0.001% of people had it, and it was to get knock 3 people off the map.
Yeah.
and get three eliminations while wall riding. And I read it to be 3 at the same time. So for example, if I got 2 and missed one guy, I stopped going in that life. I went for the next life. So that's why I didn't get it for so long. So I was really proud when I got it. And I specifically went after that because it was no one had it. Like that is a rare thing to have. But it's only the one thing. Don't care about platinums. Don't care about anything else. Didn't look at any of the other stuff. I'm sure there's other rare hard stuff. But I mained Lucio, and there was this one thing, and I wanted to be better than the other Lucios.
I wanted to show how much of a gamer I was.
And it's not like you can show that off either.
Mate, every time you go out on a date, not that you do it anymore, but every time you
Just pull out my phone like, hey, check this. Right, the floor is lava. That's right.
I guess.
That's right. And you have to screen cap it at the time because the number of people that get it will go up as time.
I'm just gonna say the fact that I'm a trophy whore, the fact that I'm a gamer with pride in this addiction to get trophies. That's the reason why I won the trip to go to LA.
True. Now I also think you deserve a rebrand. I've seen enough girls, who do OnlyFans, who are digital content creators.
OnlyFans?
You are a trophy digital content creator.
Not
Not a trophy whore. Okay?
Yes. I like that. I like that branding a lot better. Yes.
Yeah.
Changes everything.
It does.
To answer your question, Alpha, I think of the one time, it's a cardinal sin when it comes to video games. You do not make an extremely hard game anyway, with all these trophies that you have to get and stuff like that, and make a very hard, the base game is hard itself.
Yeah.
And getting to the end is very hard. There's no difficulty settings, but it's just a hard game naturally. And then tell the guy that you have to go replay the entire game again on New Game Plus in a special difficulty that makes it even harder, and then get the whole thing again.
Having to replay the game is bullshit.
That's bullshit.
That would make me not replay the game ever.
If there's an extra set of trophies on the side, as they do sometimes with Spider-Man Miles Morales did that, Horizon Forbidden West did that. That's cool. That's fine. That's extra trophies. That's cool. But to make it a requirement for the platinum is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And they did it for Ken of Bridge of Spirits. That game was hard. The boss fights were hard.
Yeah.
And I was pulling my hair out at the end. And I was like, at least I've beat the game. I just need to do a couple of sweep up trophies and then I've got it. I go look at the trophies and it's like, cool, now that you've beaten the game, there's an extra super high difficulty level. Now play the whole game again and endure all of that pain on a super high difficulty level all over again just to get the punch. I was like, nope, I'm out.
To add to that,
I won't even look at that shit. If I see it in the guide, because I'll look up guides, I'll be like, nope, that's done. Bullshit. I'm out. See you later. Yeah. I don't mind a long game. I don't mind a hard game. But you do that to me, you're not respecting my time.
Yeah, you don't forcing me to replay your game on New Game Plus just to get up to. I don't care about platinums, but to do that, that's not cool.
It's like Call of Duty back in the day when we were getting the camos. There were some of them that you had to do without any attachments, without any perks. And I was like, why are you trying to get me to play the game less fun? Everyone else has all the best perks and all the best attachments, and I have to play it with nothing. Why do you want me to do that? It made no sense to me back in the day.
That is and on that note, on like an evolving game type thing, if you put in content that then you vault for some reason and bring out new content and don't equally, let's say at that point, if you do that and there are challenges involved with some of the vaulted content, whether it's weapons or maps or missions or whatever, that aspect of the platinum needs to be vaulted as well. And the new content takes its place. If it's 20 challenges for that content, it gets replaced by 20 challenges for the new content. I should never, and I don't even care about platinums, but it winds me up because I know people do. If there is content that I can no longer play, that shouldn't preclude me from getting something, right? Like that is not cool.
Dumb.
That is stupid. Estupido.
Estupido. Anyway, I hope that answered your question. Thank you very much, Frank. That was a really good one, by the way. Sorry I missed it for so many months. And he continues saying in the new paragraph, I'm still playing nothing but Alan Wake, sacrificing TV and cinema time as I grab the achievements I haven't earned yet, and discovering things for the first time in yet another replay years later. My love for this game is ever expanding. That's true passion right there, and I like it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
That's the way to do these games.
Thank you very much for writing in. Bro, we've come to the end of the podcast.
Yeah, buddy.
Anything else to mention here? Thank you guys so much for tuning in for yet another episode. 124, I think we're at now.
Gaming.
Pretty fucking cool, right? We've done quite...
Yeah.
We're progressing quite good. Thank you guys so much for all that support. Thank you guys for everything you guys do on Patreon, on the channel, in all of our lives and stuff like that.
Yep.
We really appreciate all of you, bros. And I appreciate you as well, bro.
Wait, you can't say that anymore. It's still the 90s. Gay.
Sorry, my apologies.
You can't say gay is what I was getting at.
Yeah, I realized that after I said it, I was like, he's talking about himself.
Yeah. Have you seen? You don't watch Community, do you?
No.
Community, by the way, I recommend it. It's like the episodes are 20 minutes, so it's like it's short and easy to watch.
I'm about to make a declaration for you.
Go on.
Apple TV Plus is actually the best streaming service out there.
What?
There are so many good shows on there. And it's criminal that they don't advertise it as much. It's criminal. First of all, that Tetris movie's on there.
Okay.
With
Yeah.
Taggart, what's his name?
Yeah, I know the guy.
The guy that played in Kingsman and stuff like that.
Egerton.
Something.
That guy. That's the bro.
For All Mankind, fantastic TV show. Binged all of that. It was amazing. The new season's coming out soon. The Morning Show. I've just started watching that, and that was one of the first shows that came out there. It's got the woman from Friends, Rachel. What's her name?
I do know. Jennifer Aniston.
Jennifer Aniston in it. Jennifer Aniston. She's fantastic in it.
Steve Carell as
Steve
well.
Carell's in it as well. He's not a comedian in this one, though, so it's very serious for him.
Steve Carell's a fantastic actor.
He is, and he's only more recently become a more serious actor. Yeah. He was known for just comedy.
He did a movie like 10 years ago called something like Finding a Friend at the End of the World, which I saw randomly on a road trip across America, and we were just like stopping off and needed something to do. Serious movie, like it's not particularly funny, and he was brilliant in it, and it was not a comedy. We had no idea what it was, which is the only thing playing. So like, frick it, we need to kill a few hours. Right. And he's just a good actor. He's good. Yeah. So recommend.
Well, as I said,
sorry,
I've been watching tons of stuff because when I bought a pair of like cinema tickets and they gave me like 3 months or whatever it's for free. It was like an advertisement thing. I was like, cool, if it's free, I'll add it on there. I added it on there, and then I booted it up on my PlayStation. And if you're a PlayStation owner, you get 6 months free as well there. And it just added it onto the 3 months that I already had.
Gaming.
So I was like, fuck, I've nearly got a year of this for free.
I can make a whole new baby in this time.
Exactly, and I might as well do that. But if anyone has a PlayStation 5, if you sign in on your PlayStation, you just get 6 months for free. And Apple are one of those companies that are really good at when you want to cancel it.
Yeah.
You can cancel it a second later.
Immediately,
you still
get the 6 months.
You still have the 6 months. I love that about the iPhone, where like the apps sometimes that are like, we'll give you a 7-day free trial. And I'm like, Apple have made it super easy for me to unsubscribe from you and continue using the app. Yeah. You dickheads. See you later. And that's what I really love about Apple anyway. So it's fantastic. You should check it out. Bro.
Yes.
It's the end of the podcast.
That's right.
Fuck off, everyone. And I'll see you later. I'm very hungry. Goodbye. Catch you later, gamers. Bye, bro.